Hey everybody, it's Melissa. Today we're talking about why you should or should not buy a Miami Cuban link chain. This one around my neck is 3.2 millimeters, 17 inches, solid 22 karat gold. Now, is this design worth it? Yes, if you're going solid gold. No, if you're getting a hollow chain. And for me, I just don't like hollow chains in general because they feel cheap, they break easier, and then also when they break, a lot of jewelers aren't really going to fix them, especially if it's a rope chain. Most jewelers are not going to touch that, right? So the only good thing about getting a hollow chain is that it's cheaper. You can get a bigger look for less money. But at the same time, if you're buying a gold chain, especially if it's your first one, you want it to be a piece that you can wear 24/7. You want it to be able to be a daily driver chain. You don't want to be stressing or getting anxious about, oh, is my chain going to break? Like I told y'all that story about the stripper I was talking to where she said she was doing her set. This dude in the front row was wearing this 8 millimeter, not Cuban link. It was a rope chain, trying to flex with it. And then she went over to kind of lean and just kind of pull him lightly on his sweater or whatever he was wearing. And then her hand also caught on the chain and it snapped so quick. And now he was like literally next to some dollar bills on all fours at a strip club, picking up the remnants of his rope chain. Okay, you don't want to be that person. And also don't cheap yourself out. Why cheap? If you're gonna get gold anyways, get a solid gold piece. Like please get the solid gold one. That's the biggest thing I could say here. Now, design wise, I'll start with why you should not get the Cuban link. If you are somebody that hates the idea of the chain kinking, don't get it, because that is the nature of the beast, right? But here's the big asterisk with that. Cuban links do have a tendency to kink, but a lot of that has to do with the quality of how they were made. Because there are people that wear their Cuban links and it kinks every day, multiple times a day. That's a poorly made Cuban link. The one that you see around my neck, it is a machine made one, okay? But it's only kinked maybe 2 or 3 times and never around my neck. It's only been when I put it to the side in my dresser or something. And then when I pick it up, there's one little kink. But the second I put like my fingers touch it, the kink comes undone. So to me, this is a well-made Cuban link chain, even though it's machine made. And that's an internet discourse that people have with Cuban links. Like, no, it has to be handmade. I would never get a machine made. It's all your personal preference. I'm not going to sit and argue with internet warriors saying like what's better when they would never say that to my face, right? So if you want a rock machine, go do that. You want to get a handmade one, go do that. I support both options, okay? The great thing about the machine made ones is you have the consistency every single time. There's the uniformity, right? The great thing with the handmade ones, it's handmade. I mean, that should speak for itself. And you could decide what type of style you want, right? There's some people that like the flatter Cuban link designs. There's people that like more of the bubbled, thick Cuban link designs. You could just go find a jeweler that's going to do that for you and you'll be happy either way. Another thing that is a con with the Cuban links is their tendency to fold on your neck. So and that's just the thing with all flat links in general. If you're somebody that's going to go, oh, it folds, I have to constantly readjust it, don't get the Cuban link because it will. Even at the bigger millimeters, it might do that. Even if you get something that's 8 millimeters, right? Now, there are some people that rock 8, 10, that theirs doesn't fold or whatever. But there are also people that have those sizes and bigger that it does fold or it does kink on their neck. And like, for example, I was watching a baseball game yesterday. I think it was the Mariners or something like that. I don't remember which team it was, but I don't know the player, but he had a giant Cuban link on. And while he was up to bat, there was a big kink right on like the side of his neck. So that's just, it's going to happen with the folding, with the kinking. So be prepared for that. And then just go to a place that after a lot of due diligence and research, you've noticed, okay, there's a lot of good reviews coming from this place. I'm going to trust this place to make it for me or get a machine made piece, whatever the case is. Third con with the Cuban link, it's the price. Okay, so that could be a pro also because the Cuban links are going to be pricey because there's more gold needed to make these chains than in comparison to flatter links, right? Even though this is known, and I'll take it out so you guys can see it up close. Even though the Cuban link is technically a flat link chain, it's beefier, right? And I'll show you the side profile of it. The clasp got stuck in my hair. Not the links, the clasp. But Here, take a look at this one. I don't know if I said the specs already, but this is 3.2 millimeters, 22 karat, 17 inches, right? So if you take a look at this chain, and if I flip it on the side, you could tell, you know, it's got some meat on it. If you were to compare this to a flat curb, to a Figaro, to a Mariner chain, you're gonna notice that those chains with the side profile are razor thin. So this one is a flat link that has that oomph at like a rounded chain does. So it has the durability to it, which is a plus, which is a pro of having the Cuban link chains. But just going back to the cons, yeah, the price tag could be hefty. So if you want a piece like this, I would say save up for it. Save up for what you want. Don't cheap yourself out. Know what purity you want to get. Know what millimeter you want to get. And if you're torn between, oh, should I get a 3.5 or a 4? Always go the size up, because when you're watching these videos online, these look bigger than they actually are. Then when you get it in person, you're like, damn, I should have went for the size up. Especially if it's a 0.5 difference and you're really torn, go for the size up. And then if you don't like it, you can return it. But more people regret getting the smaller size than people regret getting the bigger size. That's all I'm going to say. Now, the pros with the Cuban link. These are sexy chains, okay? There's a reason why this style is highly sought after by a lot of people just getting into jewelry, because it catches your eye. The second you see this thing, you're like, damn, that's a really nice piece. It's really sleek. It's smooth when you run your hands through it, and it feels good around the neck. Like, this thing will hug your neck. And especially if you do go for like the tucked in look, like for me, whenever I wear my Cuban link, I actually like to tuck it in. And a lot of people, specifically like the guys that have been in my comment section, don't understand the idea of wearing a tucked chain, especially if it had a pendant, because I would wear this with a pendant. But that's when I would get the most compliments on this chain, because it just kind of peeks out a little bit and it has a sexy neck profile, like from the side, from the back if your hair is up. And whenever I'd be talking to women, they would always just like touch on it and be like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. Where'd you get your chain? Blah, blah, blah. And they'd pull it out and then they'd see the pendant and just more conversation. So as I've said many times before, this is kind of like my wing woman chain. I don't even have to say anything much about that, but it's a great conversation starter. And I really don't think that you're going to regret getting a Cuban link unless, you know, the kinking, the folding pisses you off. Now, another great thing about this design is it looks great with or without a pendant. Now, there can also be internet discourse with this topic, because you have people that are gold connoisseurs that say, no, only rounded chains should have pendants because it doesn't have a weird fold to it. Y'all, when you're actually going out and about in your real life, no one is gonna stop you in your tracks and go, why are you wearing a pendant with your Cuban link? Don't you know it has a weird sort of fold at the bottom where it meets the pendant? That's just shit that people on the internet are gonna try to give you shit about. Nobody cares in real life, and it still looks good. To me, I think if you want to rock it by itself, thumbs up. If you want to wear it with a pendant because you want to add a little bit more personality or pizzazz to it, then go do that. But that argument that you're going to see from people, it's always just people online. And a lot of the times, the people that try to hate online, they're not really, people that, you know, when you see them in real life, you're like, oh my gosh, yo, this person's so cool. You know what I'm saying? So don't be trying to impress the wrong people. Wear what you like, buy what's in your budget, but at the same time, save for the piece that you actually want. Be smart about this, because this is a gold purchase, right? So this is a big purchase. And the big takeaway here is don't cheap yourself out. But to me, I really do think that the Cuban links are worth it. This is still one of my favorite designs that y'all constantly see me recommend. I've made so many videos on Cuban link chains, both here, especially on TikTok. I talk about this design all the time, and it could be annoying to people because they're like, dang, like what other designs do you like? And I have talked about a lot of other designs, but there's a reason why this one is consistently at the top, and it's just, you will not be disappointed with it. People that wear Cuban link chains are never like, oh fuck, I hate the Cuban link, unless, you know, maybe they go for a Franco because they realize that they like the rounded designs. But if you're somebody that likes wearing the flatter links, you won't be pissed off with this. And if you get a gift and it's a Cuban link, no one's ever gonna go, fuck, I hate the Cuban link. They're gonna accept that with open arms, okay? So let me know what you think about this design. Look, there's a little kink right there, actually. Wow, it actually disappeared right when I was trying to show you guys. But now I didn't even touch that. But if you have any experience with your Cuban links, let people know in the comment section below. It's really important when people are trying to buy and do some research to get some ideas about other people's experiences. And, you know, especially if you rock a thicker version than like the 3.2, because this one is just the biggest that I've went with solid gold. I have tried the plated 7mm ones, which I've talked about, and 5mm ones on my channel. But yeah, leave all that information down below and let me know what other chain designs you guys want full reviews on. Okay, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.